First page teaser comes from Extraordinary by Nancy Werlin. It comes out in September of 2010. Phoebe Guttel Rothschild met Mallory Tolliver in 7th grade during the second week of the new school year in homeroom. Phoebe had had one of her horrific asthma attacks and couldn't start school on time, but her so-called friend had kept her in the loop about Mallory. She couldn't wait to talk about the peculiar new girl. It was her clothing that marked Mallory out. "Every day," Colette Williams-White said to Phoebe, "she wears something weirder than the day before. Yesterday she had on this huge old t-shirt like she thought it was a dress, but she had it on backward with a tag sticking out at her throat. I mean, who wouldn't notice they'd done that? And you know what? It smelled. Or maybe that was her. Also with it, high heels. Is she maybe, Phoebe paused delicately. Challenged? She's in regular classes and no. Maybe she can't afford decent clothes?" Colette shook her head decisively. The shoes were Christian Louboutin in this marigold color with ankle straps. Flowers on the toes, which, I know, sounds like too much, but trust me, it wasn't. Could she just be expressing, "Stop it, Phoebe, okay? Because frankly, not only are you wrong, but it's also really bitchy of you to keep arguing when I've met her and you haven't. Actually, it's bitchy and prissy, both." Phoebe shut up. Colette continued. "Mallory Tolliver is not making her own unique fashion statement. She just doesn't care. It's as if she throws on the first thing she finds every morning in, somebody else's closet." Colette rolled her eyes. "And that somebody else who owns the closet? Hate to say it, they're really screwed up." Looking at the new girl now, Phoebe couldn't help herself. She exchanged a quick, incredulous glance with Colette, who had been right. Then Phoebe's gaze returned, compelled, to Mallory Tolliver. Mallory stood at the back of the room between the windows and the last row of seats in profile to Phoebe, looking outside toward the cars passing in the street below. She was under medium height, with long straw-colored hair that was desperately in need of a good conditioner, and she was plump, with a curiously pale face. She would have seemed perfectly ordinary, even forgettable, if not for her clothes. Today she was wearing something that looked scarily like a Disney princess costume. Phoebe's brow furrowed, because Mallory's outfit got stranger the longer you looked at it. It was in fact not what Phoebe had thought at first glance, not a pretty, poofy Disney princess dress. The costume was flimsy and crude. It tied in back with strings and had obviously been intended to be worn on top of other, sturdier clothes, possibly on Halloween. At first it had looked similar to Belle's fabulously tiered yellow ball gown, but on closer examination its color and shape were off. Also, the dress had a small pair of wings hanging down drearily in back. These feathery wings made it a fairy princess costume. A generic, tacky, cheap fairy princess. Princess Mallory Markdown. Extraordinary, Nancy Werlin.